Hey everybody, I wanted to shoot a quick video. Unless you've been under a rock, you've heard about the NAR stuff going into effect August 17th. Wanted to kind of shoot you a quick video as to where we are in things and what we offer. Keep in mind that you're getting an email on a weekly basis that Olivia is sending out. Comes out on Fridays. It announces things, best practices, but it also announces any trainings that we have coming up. And so we've had a number of meetings in regards to this NAR and the requirements that they're coming down with those since November. So we've actually been meeting since November. I know I haven't seen a few of you in class. So I would also anticipate that if I'm not seeing you in class, you're at least attending some of the MLS trainings and whatnot that exist. There's just a plethora of material that's out there. So I'm going to go through some high level things that we talked about in our last meeting. But not least, every MLS is buyer's agency agreement is in essence the same thing, but does have some nuances. So at the end of the day, you know, hands-on application in using these forms is going to be the best way to get familiar with them. But a couple of things, bookkeeping things that we talked about in the last meeting. One is the putting the final touches on the policy and procedure manual. With those changes that are coming down, we'll be needing to have everybody sign that again. So we'll be dot looping that out so that everybody has signed stating that they've seen the new policy and procedure manual. And if true to form, what we've been doing is the most recent version is kept on our Facebook page for REMAX Alliance agents. And if for some reason you don't have access to that and you want a PDF copy, we can get you that as well. So that's one thing. The other one is alliance-.com. So alliance-dash.com is a website that we've been using for a number of years. So I would tell you, get familiar with that again if it's a site that you don't frequent, because one of the things as we know, we can't put the commissions for our listings on the MLS. So one of the things that I feel has been unaddressed is we're going to come up with a mechanism, and you can actually go there now, and it shows up at the very top, and it's kind of in beta form. We're testing it still. But what would happen is if you have a listing, you would notify the office that you have this listing and what the comp would be. We're going to put that on that page for you. And then you could go as far as to put something in the agent remarks of the listing that says, please visit alliance-.com for questions. That then will then create a platform where the buyer agents in the MLS can go to see what the commission rate is, because I realize a lot of listing agents are going to get just enamored with phone calls. So we're going to do that. The last thing we're going to do, I suspect other brokerages will do something similar. And when they all do, we will follow suit with kind of creating a booklet, a digital booklet, is the way I'm envisioning it. But that digital booklet would basically say, hey, here's Keller Williams, here's Caldwell Bankers, here's Comey Shepherds. And you guys could go to one place to search what the commission is without having to call. So that's a work in progress. The other one is start, when you sign listing agreements, keep in mind that the best time to sign a buyer's agreement is when when you know they're going to list and they're going to buy. The best time to get them to sign a buyer's agency agreement is at the time of listing. we all agree that we don't want to go and get documents signed more often than we need to. So that's the best time to do that. You also want to start having conversations with the seller about this new market, this new landscape that we're operating within, and that buyers are having conversations about commissions, and so that you need to be prepared for those different scenarios. And again, if you've been in classes, that's all that we have been working on. So most people that I'm talking to these days, with agents that are having conversations with us and having meetings, I get a good sense that most everyone is really prepared and ready for this. So that's great. On the buy side, um, here's how I see the buyer's agency being used. So buyer's agency is a date range opportunity which you can use, and I've heard agents say that's the way they'll use it, and that's fine. It's written that way. Um, but here's how do you show a house today? A buyer that you've never met before calls you on the phone. They're interested in something. You get a lead, you get a referral, whatever that is, and you say to them, hey, I'll meet you Friday at 3 o'clock, and you show up 5 minutes early and you turn the lights on, you meet them and you get to know them and you start working with them, right? That's what we do today. So what I'm proposing, this is my way of kind of soft selling the agent into utilizing this document, is let's say you get that same request to see the property at 3 o'clock on Friday. You would say, okay, Mr. Smith, let me call you back. Let me get it set up. And then you're going to have a conversation. You're going to try and set that showing, and like you normally do. But you're also going to find out what the comp is. If there's documentation, great, go find it. If you have to talk to the listing agent, you call the listing agent. And so let's just say in this instance, the seller is paying a 3% co-op for the buyer. And so when you call the Mr. Smith back, you're going to say, hey, I got good news. I got a setup for 3 o'clock on Friday. I'm going to meet you there. We're going to take a look at the property. But hey, before I let you go, I need to talk to you and get some paperwork signed. As you probably know, Mr. Smith, the real estate market has gone through some changes, and where you may have bought something in the past, we now have to sign documents explaining how commissions are handled and that the buyer is responsible for the commissions. So my buyer's agency agreement that I'm going to sign with you, Mr. Smith, is going to be address only, meaning that I only am working with you on this property at 123 Main Street. And so, but the other good news I wanted to share with you is I've already talked to the selling or the listing agent, and if for some reason you would find that this house is the house for you, we have already identified that the seller is going to pay your fees. So when I send this document over for you to sign, it's going to say that I'm working with you on this particular property, and it's also going to say that you're responsible for paying 3% in commissions. But it also says a couple of lines down that we're going to go and get that money from the seller. We're going to work to get that from the seller. And so we don't have to worry about that in this case, because if you fall in love with this house, it's already taken care of. So kind of put a pin in it at that point. So what happens then is you're going to send it, get it signed, go to the appointment on 3 o'clock Friday, and then do what you do. You win that client over and you're like, hey, I now know you. I understand how you function. And so I'd be happy to work with you. And so but that then opens another conversation. Hey, Mr. Smith, if you remember, we signed that agreement. It was address only. So here's what I can do. We can sign one of these for every property I take and show you, or we could put it as a date range. You could make it for a month, whatever that is, something that's palatable. I just don't think you're going to be able to get buyers to sign agreements for 12 months or 6 months at a time, unless, of course, they've worked with you in the past, and they truly know you and adopt where you're coming from. Um, so that's kind of the way I'm pitching that this needs to be used. Now I'm going to be creating some other videos on best practices in filling out the forms. Of all the MLSs, the Dayton MLS has made the most drastic changes to forms. Cincinnati's made a couple of changes, and no one really else has made a lot of change that is of significance or bringing up. So I'm going to be doing some classes and some video, not classes. I'm going to be doing some videos on explaining the different sections of the forms and kind of working our way through it. So I hope that's of kind of give you an idea of where the brokerage is on this topic, and I would encourage you to be on the lookout for future classes, because you know this is what we do, and we got to be we got to kind of get ingrained. So I will add one thing that we did come up with in the last meeting. So one of the things we talked about is starting the end of August. So this goes effective August 17th. Towards the end of August, I'm going to get together every 2 weeks for 2 months, and then get together once a month for a little bit of time. It really comes down to how much you guys participate. But we're kind of looking at it as a kind of a breakfast setting. Start the day with coming in. We'll have breakfast, whatever that is. We'll put something together, and we'll just have conversations on, hey, in the last 2 weeks, this has been my experience. Hey, in the last 2 weeks, this worked effectively for me. Hey, in the last 2 weeks, this didn't work, and I didn't know how to get through it. So it's a chance for us to kind of get together as a group to kind of unify one another and support one another, and just kind of say, hey, this is how I handled it, and at the end of the day, maybe you inspire somebody to feel a little more confident. So it isn't going to be a setting that's just for those people who are having problems. It's meant to be a setting for everybody. So we want to hear the good, we want to hear the ugly, because we want to learn from you. We want to learn from each other. So those you should be looking for, and that announcement as well. And again, be on the lookout for things regarding putting the listing commissions on alliancedash.com. So I wish you the best, and I'll be in touch. Thanks.